This is the low fidelity prototype pitch for Heading Home. This is Samantha Nagel. Also in the team is Bill Swan and Alexis O'Neill. We are working with Heading Home to provide modules for new employee training. We need our new employees to be able to identify and connect with the Housing First model, to apply trauma-informed care techniques when working with Heading Home residents, and lastly, to apply de-escalation techniques when residents are showing signs of distress or agitation. Heading Home needs their training modules to be added to their LMS so that new employees can access and complete them on their first day of training. They will also use some follow-up training techniques like job shadowing. Our learners are new Heading Home employees. They will be doing onboarding exercises. They may have limited education. We are aiming for our modules to be at a 7th grade reading level to compensate for this. Learners may be being introduced to these topics for the very first time. These modules will be short modules, about 10-minute videos. We will not have in-depth treatments. Again, we're just introducing our learners to these topics. For each module, learners will see a short video, and then afterwards they'll take a short quiz that summarizes what they've learned. After training, learners will receive a 1-page job aid that summarizes the content in their videos. The videos will explain each topic in broad terms. While explaining these topics, they will also give a strong sense of the unique Heading Home culture. An unusually strong culture came through our interviews when we interviewed Heading Home staff. This culture focuses on staff and resident well-being. It's positive, collaborative, and team-oriented. Heading Home is very proud of their mission, and it's very mission-focused. And Heading Home is very empathetic, again, both towards the staff and the residents. Our design weaves training into the overall experience of joining this awesome team and culture. We want to make it more impactful through supporting that connection and helping them make it. Our first module doesn't need a lot of content, but it does need to explain the Housing First philosophy, and we'll do that by using videos of staff and residents talking about it. Again, we want more video than content, and we want the learners to walk away feeling inspired and motivated for working at Heading Home. Our second module has the meat of the content. It has guidelines for working with people who've experienced trauma and teaches them how to de-escalate when they see the resident becoming agitated. The second module topics focus on trauma, communication, teamwork, and individual techniques. What we need from you is, are we putting too much content in the Module 2 video? Do we need to separate trauma-informed care and de-escalation? Since we're emphasizing more about the video interviews than the content, does that make sense? Do we need to shift the balance for more content and less videos? Lastly, for these quizzes that follow each video, what kinds of questions should we be asking? And just in general, it can be kind of hard to see what we're doing from the short demo. Any questions you have about that are welcome. I'm going to step through some vicarious slide experiences. We'll step through a few pages of the storyboard that will become the second video, and we're just going to show you the introduction segment and the segment on trauma. I'm going to go ahead and read the voiceover audio as if you're watching the slides. Hi, welcome to this introductory training video. This is the starting place of a conversation you will have as a staff member of Heading Home about the most basic thing you do here, how you engage with and work with the residents at Heading Home shelters. That conversation will continue as you get started with your job and then throughout your work here. It's something you'll talk to your fellow staff about, and you'll have that constant opportunity to compare your notes. We're always learning from one another here and supporting each other. So we'll learn from you, and you may very well learn a few things from us too. We start the conversation by talking about trauma. The experience of significant life traumas is common in homeless populations and affects the way they communicate and all the ways in which we can interact positively and helpfully. Next, we'll talk about communication. What are the best ways to communicate with Heading Home residents? How you and fellow staff as a team work to support each other and our residents. And finally, some of the approaches you can take that have worked pretty well for us and that we'd like to share with you. Now we're going to see a video of Buck, a resident talking about their experiences. Buck will say, "Back in 1996, I got hit with a beam. It broke the side of my face and my head. I ended up with a traumatic brain injury. It was really bad. The depression, PTSD, anger, anxiety, bad. You just don't want to admit it. Like I say, I was a construction worker in the service, and I can't do none of that anymore. That had a lot to do with my drinking." Buck is talking about something many of our residents have experienced: significant trauma in their lives. It may include physical trauma or histories of physical, psychological, or sexual abuse, the sudden loss of a home, or adjusting to conditions of shelter life. People in shelters have PTSD, depression, or substance use at higher rates than the national average. From this point forward, we'll cover the rest of the trauma topic, we'll talk about communication, and we'll finish with bullet point summaries of guidelines. Final notes: videos lead into topics that prioritize the Heading Home culture. The intro to Module 2 will also explain this topic in terms of what they're doing with the team. So again, these are our questions. Are we putting too much content in Module 2? Would it make sense to tilt the balance more towards content and less towards video? And for the questions that follow each video, what kinds of questions should we be asking? Thank you.